Yeah, g'day again, viewers. Okay, I am putting a second coat now on this timber. I've gone along and dabbed a little bit of chocolate brown over all the copper rivet heads that were showing, puttied the ones that were below the surface. I shown in the previous video I was mucking around with different putties trying to match up a bit of damage, and I couldn't. There's like 5 different lots of putty. I still couldn't match up the colour. It's sort of difficult because you've got so much of a variation in colour on this boat. You go from light to dark brown to almost black, and a reddish tone. So there's just quite a few different tones in it, so it's quite hard to match up. But right about here there was a big chunk that had been taken out of the boat, bit of damage. I puttied up and it just stood out because it was just like a round patch, and like I couldn't get the putty to match it exactly. And so what I've done is I've got so the closest I could get to it, and I wiped it over, and so instead of it being a round stand out hole, I spread it out a little bit. And because as I said, squares or circles or anything are going to stand out. So by spreading it out, you sort of make it sort of blend in a bit more as a natural feature. The other thing I've done is I've got I found a little bit of, I think it's teak. I'll grab the tin in a minute. There's a stain and varnish, and it was quite old. It's sort of dried out pretty thick. But I just went over this whole area, just with an artist brush, and just sort of spread it out, try to blend over the tops of the putty and everything, and it's worked quite well. I mean, you can see it, but it doesn't stand out as being unnatural. It just sort of blends in, so with the rest of the thing. And of course it was a bit chunky because, as I said, I did it with a little artist brush and just sort of spread it out. And then going over that again with lightly with a sander to take some of the chunks off. I've actually exposed one of the rivets again. And then you have to get the chocolate brown out again shortly. You can probably do that while the lacquer's wet. I've got a few runs here too I'm going to have to go over quickly before it dries. But I also wanted to show a technique that I use on a timber boat. So you don't want to get runs. What you do want to do, like, I'm only dabbing this, probably an inch or so of the brush into there, but I put the first lot, on this edge, because that's where your bulk of your paint is on the brush, and then go over and work it up. So that way, the little bit of excess paint that you get is running down into the joins between the boards and helping to make sure it's sealed up. And again, just dab the brush. You can probably see an inch of paint on there. So, paint this top edge first, and then work it up. Always run, with the boards, which is not always easy when you have joins. But like if you brush across that, it'll stand out. You'll see it. Anyway, I'll show you a couple of other bits. Then I'm yeah. Another thing I didn't do, I'll take you off the tripod here, is remember I was going around with a pencil marking pieces that needed putty. Yeah, can run over. I just brushed over that. I'm going to have to clean. There's a couple of bits like that. I'll go over them again, wipe them runs off before they dry. But yeah, I didn't rub the bloody pencil mark off. That's already got a layer of lacquer over that, so I'm going to have to rub right through a whole layer of lacquer now. Like layer of lacquer. Get that pencil arrow out of there. Yeah, this is the stain and varnish. I can open that and show you. It's sort of quite dry, I think. Open that one end and without spilling it. Yeah, pretty chunky. Could run that for a filter actually, but yeah, as I said, because it's old and it's gone thick, that was yeah, quite useful in colouring over those putty areas. As I said, boy, spreading it out lengthways, you get rid of that square or round shape, and it makes it far less noticeable. I mean, you can see the difference in the colour here, but yeah, like what you can see is the reddish putty that's underneath it. I said it matched in quite a few places, but didn't match here. This is a bit too yellowish, but yeah, so by spreading it out and then putting that stain and lacquer over the top, it looks more like a natural feature, see? So it doesn't stand out as being a repair. So, I mean, because I repaired it, when I come over and look at it, I look straight at it. But somebody who doesn't know it's repaired is not likely to even notice it, They just glance over it, it just blends in. So, yeah, I said you've got to get rid of square or round shapes that don't look natural. And that's one way of doing it, by spreading your putty or your thing out in lines and making it blend in that way, look different shape. Got the transom rubbed. I've taken the rudder holders off. We got a little bit of damage in here too. Got a gouge there. There's another one up there, so there's a couple of little bits of filler in here. And I buffed up the rudder holders, and I wanted to get the lacquer underneath the rubbers, underneath the holders before I put them back on. I'll lacquer over them again, but yeah, just to seal the timber up. It's still got to rub up here, obviously. I'll show you the these. I put these into the sandblaster. I was expecting them to be brass, but they look more copperish. They're a real coppery colour, more than a brass colour. Put them through the sandblaster. That's how they look when they come out of the sandblaster. And then I just run them quickly on the wire wheel, shine them up a little bit. Yeah, I'll put them back on and lacquer over them again. It'll stop them corroding. This is the bunghole. I'm a bit sort of in two minds as to whether, actually, before I get onto that, there's the screws. I just shine the tops up on the wire wheel. No. I took this off mostly so I could sand around it. As you can see, I've now sanded the entire other side. I've got epoxy filler in the same place right down along the keel. And it wasn't too much. There's a couple of openings that were a bit big between the planks. Like if you got a tiny, like a half-mil gap, the lacquer will fill that up and seal it without any problem. But yeah, some of these were getting a bit big, and especially down here, and we had a split there that you could see daylight through before. And some of these were quite open too, so yeah, a bit of damage down the front. I fixed up. Just got to go along, finish shining this brass strip up. Yep. The screwdriver's up there because I've got taking the copper tarnish off. I said I will lacquer this like I did on the other side before I fill it. That way the putty will adhere better to the lacquer than it will to the rivet. So, yeah, anyway, we'll get back to that. What I was getting to, this was a bung, and the bung holder. Like normally you have those right in the transom, but I suppose probably because the angle this comes up at, like it wouldn't drain, you'd have to have the bait quite raised at the front before it would drain, but sort of doubtful about whether this should be on the inside. Yeah, because you're going to get, that's going to catch on things, especially if you've got the bung, like the bung itself, which I don't have here, and probably the owner probably doesn't have either. But that's usually like a flat blade type thing, and that's going to catch on things, weeds, rocks, anything you might run into, sand, even if you beach it, or run into a sandbar. It could actually cause it to come loose. And so, if it comes loose and falls out while you're sailing, it's gone, and you can't get it back in. And the amount of water that would come up through this hole it'd sink the boat pretty quick. You probably only have 10 minutes before it'd go under. I suppose you could stick your finger in it from the underside, but block it up. But I don't know. You'll have to make some inquiries about this, but I got a feeling it really should be on the other side. It should be smooth, but then the other issue is, would there be enough, if this is on the other side, would there be enough pressure in the water for it to push up and pull the screws out? Suppose you could get around that by drilling it right through and putting brass bolts with nuts on the other side. That would prevent any of that. I don't know. I'm in two minds as to whether to put that back on as it is or put it on the other side. Anyway, but yeah, so we are making a little bit of progress with it. So we're not too far from getting it finished now, actually. So we'll get this rubbed shortly. And anyway, I better finish it here and take off those couple of runs. There's one there. You can see it. But yeah, get them off with the brush before it dries. It's a good reason too, whenever you brush paint something, to as soon as you finish, check it right over, get the get the sheen on it while it's wet, and look it right over, because if you do have some runs, here's another one just up here, and that's actually because I painted this and then painted that a second time, so we've got to double up on here, and because that's going to have to be rubbed again. We've got, I don't think the camera's picking up, but you can see all the little swirlies from the orbital, so you're going to have to rub them out and smooth it. But yeah, as I said, always check anything you brush, or even if you spray it too. But check for runs, because it's a whole lot easier to just brush them out while it's wet than to try and rub them off again when it's dry. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, and I'll get back on the brushing this. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.